Be my Jamaica Art and I bet the Obermann. Now, from time to time, you might find the feeling in you that you be living in a Nazi prison camp, and everywhere around you be Nazi guards, and perhaps you be unable to escape the Nazi prison camp, and you feel just boxed in. What be you able to do in such a situation? The Obermann be recommending Viktor Frankl, who actually lived in a Nazi prison camp and then wrote a book about it. How you live in such a situation. I never read Viktor Frankl's book. I guess it's on the reading list, but I don't read anymore, basically, because I am boxed in. Um, and I don't know what else to tell you other than maybe you feel like you're boxed in, like you have no options, and you're waiting for divine intervention in your life, which might come in the form of and World War II. Eventually, Nazi Germany was, and the concentration camp people were released. Many of them talked about their exploits, and I guess I need a new hat. Being an old pro like myself. Okay, I'm just, unable to speak. Unable to speak. I'm supposed to be doing like comedy bits, and the stagecraft, in other words, the people that are running the show, are blocking me from doing comedy bits. That's what I really want to do. I want to do more Fat Cat California and George Gross because usually they're funny. But for some reason, the stagecraft people are all having me deal with demonics and Nazism and FEMA camps and the purge and gloom and doom and really negative timelines. And personally, in my life, never getting much enjoyment whatsoever, never getting a vacation, and basically having zero prosperity, zero personally me thriving. Why is that? It's because the ones who are calling themselves uh, see, I'm not going to come out too far beyond the abilities of how you do. Okay, this is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hat. And if you're a football fan, have you started watching the preseason games? Uh, I do enjoy football, but it seems that I have just not been given to watch football lately. Okay, I'm never going to be too much more than your regular novelist and playwright. I'm Christopher Isherwood, and you might remember me because I wrote the great Broadway play with Liza Minnelli was in some of these ones. Cabaret. What do you? Need more hats. Oh, my hat department is empty. It's right back there. It's very dark. In the dark corner of my hat department. I don't have a hat, and I need a haircut. I've been saying this for like about a week now, and I really need a hat. Lucy is kind of a dragon, and Pindar is also a dragon. So there's two dragons that we do in the cosmic characters. And I'm like a small but very tough dragon. And Pindar, he's either like, I don't know, he's always bizarre. He's very comic. Usually the one that comes here, we do at the front, is Pindar the Reptilian Draco, also known as Prince Pindar of Draconis, Pindar the Magnificent, Pindar loves green blankies, and Pindar's dad is the evil emperor from Star Wars. Oh, sometimes the dragons blend together, two personalities, and, the other Pindar that we know quite well is Chill Pindy. It's not Pindar, he changed his name to Pindy, and he put chill in front of it because he's really chill. He's so laid back. He's like the Big Lebowski. Mm, well, what else can I tell you? I got this Gizmodium. This is like, I don't know if you can see it. It's like acrylic, and it's got a copper wire that goes spun around, and then it's got stuff in the acrylic. This one we bought on Amazon, and it's a paperweight, basically. The caption on the item was something to do with, I don't know, maybe it was something to do with orgone energy. I've got another one of these kind of things in the shape of a pyramid, but not here in this room. But this is supposed to transmute negative orgone energy, which is like negative chi, negative prana, negative negative energy. Does it work? No. No, it doesn't work. Man, it makes a cute little gift if you want to give somebody something, you know, because you're sick of it. But we like to look at it because sometimes it looks like a P or a 6 or a 9. Well, that's show and tell for today, kids. The point of all of this is simply to make you go, someone's having a strange day. And we always have strange days when we're with the cosmic characters. Thank you for watching. Oh, this is my new Reader's Digest. I might have shown you this before. But it's this cute little dog. He looks like an Ewok from Star Wars. I'm not sure if he's happy or he's kind of. This is the problem with Ewoks. It's kind of hard to tell what their emotions are. Because you can't see his wagging tail. A dog's wagging tail actually has a consciousness calibration from the scale of human consciousness, and it's a very much a very high vibe. If you've got a dog with a wagging tail, the wagging tail aspect is very high consciousness. It's just full of love. Mm, mm. This stuff I use it a lot. It's for my aches and pains. Usually they're called ascension symptoms. You have ringing in the ears, tinnitus, and if you have aches and pains, you can put this stuff on. What is the real cause of ascension symptoms? Demons. Demons are what causes pain in the human body. It's nothing to do with ascension. But if you're following ascension, in other words, you're trying to go to higher vibrations and you're finding you're getting sick, and they say it's just ascension symptoms, your body is transmuting and becoming a light body or something. That's bullshit. It's bullshit and bafflegap, because whatever your body is made of, uh, normally we call it physical matter, a carbon-based body that is, I don't know what it is, almost 80% water, but water itself is being described as a physical liquid. And all of these things that are physical are incorrectly described, as I say time and time again, because they are just things in consciousness. Can't you have physical things in consciousness? Uh, but it leads you down the wrong road, because physicality implies, well, for most people, dead matter that's put together into, you know, material things. But if you see real magic, not just sleight of hand, which is someone who's got, good ways of using camera angles to hide things, but if you see real magic, and I do from time to time, I wish I wanted to go on Penn and Teller and do it's not me that's doing the magic. This is the problem. And for me, it's not predictable when it's going to happen. Oh God, if I could do real magic, well, I guess I would go up and do the traditional. I would get dressed up in a black tuxedo and I would have a black top hat, and I would do the trick of pulling a live white bunny out of my top hat on Penn and Teller. And then I would put the bunny back in the hat, put the hat back on my head, and then I would have, I don't know, Allison Hannigan, the host, come over and have her frisk me. Where is the bunny? And she wouldn't be able to find the bunny. Do I think it's possible for me to do this? Yes, but I'm using incorrect language, because magic, for me anyway, is not done by anyone. It is done. Is it done by the Wizard of Oz? I'm going to call it done by stagecraft. And it's not human stagecraft. It is the stagecraft of the reality game. The famous story I tell people about to prove that we do not live in physical reality is I was a support worker at a nursing home. And one lady I looked after, she ate such a little bit of food. We always spent extra time with her, sitting with her, trying to get her to eat. Please try and eat a little bit more, just a little bit more. She would eat like half a piece of toast in the morning and, 3/4 of a cup of tea. And then she said, no, I've had enough. I've had enough. And she was quite thin, and, we're trying to keep her body weight up, and she wouldn't eat. And breakfast, lunch, and dinner the same thing. She wouldn't eat, she wouldn't eat, she wouldn't eat. So hardly any food going in. And yet, every day right after lunch, we had to put her on the toilet. She would have the most enormous BM. Enormous. You know, this just enormous, enormous, enormous every day. So we would look at each other and go, how the hell is she having such a big poop? There was no food in her room. So, and there was nowhere else for her to get snacks. And we knew this one because we looked after her for, every day. So we knew what she was like. She just wouldn't eat. So how could she possibly produce such a huge BM? This gets back to an engineering problem, or well, let's call it a problem. It's basically, you've got a machine, and maybe it's a machine that makes spaghetti. And so you put in the front of the machine, you put in tomatoes and spices and maybe some water, and you measure all of that. Maybe whatever the ingredients are. You measure how much of all that stuff you've got. And then it runs through the machine and out comes the spaghetti sauce. The amount of stuff going into the machine has to equal the amount of stuff coming out of the machine. Has to. It has to. Where else can it go? There's no question, if there's not as much coming out as you put in, that somehow it is going out through a tube into the sewer or something. So you have to measure all the ways that the input can exit the system. This is simple engineering. Now, the engineering of this human body is the same principle. You measure how much food is going in, and you measure how much poop is coming out. And if there's only a little teeny little bit of food and water going in, and she poops way more than I do. And I'm a 6-foot man. She is a little thing about 5'3" and 98 pounds, and she doesn't eat. But she poops more than me. So the engineering principle of what goes in must come out. The equivalent amount that goes in must come out. The equivalent amount is violated with this woman every day. I'm not making this up. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not. I'm serious. I'm not. So, is this real magic? Yes. This is real magic. She produces poop out of thin air. Well, out of her belly or her intestines. She makes poop out of nothing because the amount of food and water going in is not equivalent to how much comes out. So I'm going to tell you, this proves to me that we do not live in physical reality. We live in a magical reality. Some people have speculated with the simulation hypothesis that we are living in something like a very advanced holodeck from Star Trek: The Next Generation, or a very advanced video game running on a computer in some alien's basement on planet Betelgeuse in the Arcturian system or something. The point of the matter is, I don't know, exactly what the details are of what it is. Arthur C. Clarke said, sufficiently high technology and magic are indistinguishable. So magic is really fun to talk about, but if you really want to get in the nuts and bolts about how the magic is done, I'm going to go with high technology. And the highest technology that we got is actually the planet that we live on, and our everyday reality. It is not physical, although quite often it appears to be solid and physical. But if you have got any really strange, odd experiences, I don't know if you have, For most of my life, I did not have anything that would indicate to me that we lived in a high technology reality. In other words, everyday life. It wasn't until much later in life that I started seeing bizarre things. The only thing odd looking back that was happening to me when I was young was often when I walked home at nighttime and I walked by streetlights, the streetlights would go out. But I just thought, it was just something to do with the streetlights that every once in a while they would go out because maybe they had to recharge or reset or something. And I never thought of it was magic. But this still happens to me today when I drive around town. It's like timed. I never know which ones are going to go out, and it doesn't happen every night. But probably 95% of nights that I'm driving around, it happens. I'll come up and be driving up towards a light, and a street light will go out. And sometimes a whole pile of them will go out in one night, and sometimes it'll just be one. And very rare occasions, it won't happen. Other times, it'll be like a whole block that I go down, and the lights are out. It's just things that I notice. There's always a scientific explanation. It's just the light is resetting or something. Or, there's a power failure in the streetlights on this block. The other thing that is kind of odd is how I can't remember what went on each and every day of my life. If I try and remember what went on in like grade 1, first grade, I can't remember. The memories are blocked. What's strange about that? I think it's just so commonplace. We think it's just normal that somehow when you're an adult, you can't remember what was going on when you were in first grade. But according to the metaphysical theories of the Akashic records, everything that ever happened to you and to everyone else is recorded in the Akashic records, which are located, I don't know where, but it doesn't seem to be on planet Earth, but in some other dimension perhaps. So the stuff should be available to you, but it's not. Well, I always say it's because of the League of Coup-Sitters, which are they're either demonic beings or they're beings that are playing the Adjustment Bureau with you, which is a Matt Damon movie, The Adjustment Bureau. If you haven't seen that one, I'm not sure if it's on Netflix, but it's really worthwhile seeing because it talks about beings who want to be control freaks because they've got an agenda and you are an unwilling participant in their agenda. There's more to it, I'm sure, but the being is supposed to be about helping Earth progress from being a nightmare to something beautiful. But I don't know. Do you want? Okay, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Okay, are you still here? If you're still here, I'm going to give you the spoiler. The point of the matter is that the Adjustment Bureau people, despite their mission, were failing their mission because in the movie, Matt Damon fell in love with a girl and wanted to live happily ever after. And the Adjustment Bureau people didn't want them to have this experience. So they weren't about creating heaven on earth. Adjustment people were actually acting like demonic control freaks, which this planet seems to be totally full of. That's enough for today. I got to get a haircut. And my t-shirt is the one I slept in last night. It's either Bass Pro Shops, if I'm wearing my fishing hat, or it's Bass Pro Shops, where you buy the guitars. It's all about the bass, no trouble.